Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Welcome to the Dhammapada program. Today we are going to discuss verses number 73 and 74. The Buddha uttered the following verse while residing at the Jetavana monastery. He spoke these verses with reference to a venerable Sudhamma and Chitta, the householder. The 73 verses, Asatam Bhavanam Chaya Bhikkhusu Pure Karana Avasesu Isaryam Parakulesu Pujach. He is fond of being recognized for what he in reality is not. This is something attitude of sick people. He is fond of being recognized for what he in reality is not. Yearns for preeminence among peers. He craves for preference in matters relating to residences. He is fond of the idea of receiving gifts and requisites from other families as well. The ignorant one has this attitude of mind. Let both the lay people and the clergy know that this was done by me alone. In whatever activity, small or big, my leadership alone should prevail. Everybody must follow me. This conceit of the ignorant leads to craving, uncontrolled desire, and to groundless pride, to a false sense of superiority, a superiority complex. These begin to grow. It goes little by little. So it is dangerous. Glory and preeminence, these two stanzas are entirely on various forms of egoism. Experienced in monastic life, these forms affect largely those monks and ascetics who are not much advanced in spiritual progress, since they have not begun to cherish the real values of monastic life. They are enamored of fancy gifts, offerings, prestige, leadership, etc. These egoistic pursuits are pretty activities. These are not pretty, but petty, very low-level activities of those who are still in the foothills of spiritual ascent. These ignorant ones tend to acquire these assets of lay life they left behind, and their egoistic pursuits are petty, low-level activities. Being surrounded by retinues, being sought out to be given special presents, are all important to them. They are hurt if they felt that they are neglected. They begin to yearn for requisites from other families than their own, to enable them to widen their circle of admirers. These attitudes mar or spoil their spiritual achievements. It's their spiritual achievement. The ignorant one has this attitude of mind that the lay people and the clergy know that this was done by me alone. In whatever activity, small or big, my leadership alone should prevail. Should prevail. I am the one to be recognized. I am the one who must be treated well. This kind of false understanding, this kind of thoughts, attitudes, indeed going to spoil one's progress on his spiritual progress. These ignorant ones tend to acquire these assets of lay life they left behind. And they, as monks, they try to gather with ignorance and harm their own spiritual way. They are hurt if they felt that they are neglected. He is fond of being recognized. Even without seeing the Buddha, I have attained the fruit of conversion. The lay disciple thought to himself, even without seeing him, I have attained the fruit of second path. I ought to see the Buddha. So he ordered, yoked 500 carts full of sesame, rice, ghee, sugar, garment, and other offerings, whether of food or else. He visited the Buddha and spent 1 month giving alms to the Buddha and the monks. After a month, Venerable Ananda asked the Buddha, Venerable, was it because he saw you that he received all these honors? Said the Buddha, Ananda, no matter what place such a man resorts to, he receives gain and honor. Asatam bhavanam ichchaya bhiksusu purekharanch avasisucha isaryam parakulesu pujach. That means, fond of being recognized for virtues he does not possess. Among the monks, leadership, residences, Isarya, preeminence, parakulis by other families, puja's acceptance, recognition, and proportions, desires. These things, if somebody possesses, and if he or she is ignorant of his own false mistake, then it will be a disaster, a cardinal error on his part. The conceit of the ignorant leads to craving, uncontrolled desire, and go to groundless pride, to false sense of superiority. These begin to grow. The glory and the preeminence, these forms affect largely those monks and ascetics who are not much advanced in spiritual progress, since they have not begun to cherish the real values of monastic life. Gifts, offerings, prestige, leadership, etc. These egoistic pursuits are indeed a great hurdle on their spiritual path, on their spiritual path. They are hurt if they felt that they are neglected. They begin to yearn for requisites from other families to enable them to widen their circle of admirers. This attitude indeed going to spoil their spiritual achievements. In these verses 73 and 74, very important message to ordinary lay people is given. And although Buddha knew that the householder would pardon oh, this venerable is stubborn in his pride, now let him go. And so, without telling him how he might gain pardon, he just dismissed him. The venerable returned with the pride humbled. The Buddha then gave the venerable a companion and said to the venerable, "Go with this companion and ask pardon of the householder." Said the Buddha, "A religious person ought not to give way to pride or ill will, thinking, this residence is mine, this male lay disciple is mine, this female lay disciple is mine. For if we so did, ill will and pride and their other depravities increase." After listening to this admonition, Venerable Sudama bowed to the Buddha, rose from his seat, and then, accompanied by his companion monks, went within sight of the lay disciple, atoned for his fault, and begged the disciple's pardon. This lay disciple both pardoned him, in turn asked his pardon, saying, "I pardon you, Venerable, if I am to blame. Pray pardon me also." The Venerable held steadfast in the admonition given by the Buddha, and in a few days attained arahantship enlightenment, together with the supernatural faculties. So these are the things that in day-to-day life, though we are not yet enlightened, but these thoughts harmful for our spiritual path. Therefore, we should try to get rid of these kind of thoughts, attitudes, egoistic ideas, if we were to achieve spiritual progress. This is the meaning in a nutshell of these two verses. May you all be well and happy.